these platforms are forever changing, right? So you finally, you guys crack the code, you know it's working. You've got something that's scalable, repeatable, and simple, and then boom, that the platforms change, right? So how are you guys able to navigate through and almost kind of like set the tone for everybody else when you're doing it?
You know what I just realized is the same bitch I had about the suit behind a desk giving me permission to entertain and be successful, and that's why I pivoted to social media, is happening with social media because we're also beholden to the platforms. I built my entire business on the back of Facebook and Snapchat, and then they changed their algorithm, and I lost 60% of revenue overnight. Overnight, 2 Octobers ago. Thankfully, we saw it coming a year in advance and could build and prepare. But if you build a business on social media, and they own you, right? They could flip something tomorrow and you're in big trouble. That's the only place you're getting your leads from. So using it to build community and a feeling of trust that you can take them wherever. Just like Taylor Swift leaving country music and going to pop.
Yeah.
She had built a community so strong, didn't matter that country music was screwing her over or she didn't own what she wanted to own. She can go wherever she wants, and she could sell him a towel. She could sell him a fart. She could sell him whatever because she had built a community and the trust.
That's right.
That's what you're going for.
You know, and you had mentioned, I've lost profiles, and dude, they hurt, especially like when I wasn't ready for that. And and think about that, like at what point in time does it make sense? Obviously, if you're big on Instagram and you lose Instagram, you can hopefully get them on, get them to another platform, and that's a big deal. But like, when they're losing accounts, how many accounts should like somebody have, and when should they have backup accounts?
Backup accounts require maintaining. So we have backup accounts just for syndication, but not like, I don't have a Adley backup Instagram.
Okay.
We have people who can help get profiles back, thankfully, with like a 98% success rate.
I wish I had known that. Holy cow, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I wish we would have called each other then. Yeah. But even that, I mean, that's nice to have in your back pocket, but I would rather start from scratch with a brand new account than try to revive an old dead backup one that was really dormant. I'd rather bank a bunch of content that's really hot and then launch a new one fresh and just get the golden star right out of the gate doing all the things that the platform tells you to do. Do
you ever see video, like everything goes in cycles, right? So skinny jeans, bell-bottom jeans, they come and go. And so, at one point in time, Instagram was all about the photo, the static image. And now it seems like it's all about the video, right? But then they're like, hey, let's do some carousels. Let's do all these things. So obviously video, like that's something that Brad always talks about. He's like, dude, people watch videos. They scroll past something that doesn't move that much. And, so talk to me about what you guys are seeing as far as like, what like in 2025, you got any predictions on the market or anything like that? What are you guys thinking?
On the subject of video versus mixing in other media styles, I think it is nice to do a mix of both. Yes, you could do 2 videos a day, but why don't you throw in a carousel that still uses the formula, still story tells, like still has a really strong shock value hook, but bring those story note cards that used to be big, like just those static images of like inspirational quotes, do something similar to that, put it in a carousel and bookend it, take people through an emotional journey through that carousel. And that's one less video you have to shoot, but one still equal touch point.
Yeah.
And experiment with mixing in these other styles. If you're only doing direct to cam with, talking to cam, mix in green screen with something behind you and educate that way. Mix in whiteboard demonstrations, mix in some of our other methods. Like you can mix in these different buckets of content too, to mix it up a little bit, keep your content looking fresh too. Because sometimes, you'll follow a person for a while and they're so predictable with their content style, you almost swipe past it because you're like, I know it's not gonna be anything that new or that different, or why is this podcast clip different than the last 72,000 of them, But if they see something different from you and you're evolving as an artist as well, then it takes them on an emotional journey over the scope of your career as well, rather than just doing the same types of content for so long. So I would start to mix in more content styles in 2025. If you're a creator, I would get into TikTok Shop as fast as you freaking can. We just dropped a free course on TikTok Shop. Don't believe it's going anywhere. And by the time this comes out, I'm sure it'll be kicked down the road a little bit longer. But
they've been talking about it going away for years.
Right. And the decision for the Supreme Court is the day before the inauguration. These things aren't that coincidental. I think it'll be kicked down the road again.
Yeah.
And hopefully I don't have to eat my words, but I'm fine doing that too. Been wrong a million times.
It'll get watched a lot of times if you do. I know that.
Great. Yeah. She doesn't know what she's talking about. See? But I'm very bullish on take TikTok Shop for what you will, but all content is going to be shoppable content. But we're already seeing it on TV. We're seeing it. We've seen it with Amazon influencers forever. We've seen it with affiliate marketing forever. All content is going to be shoppable, especially as we enter VR. So if you're a creator, learning how to sell without selling, learning those age-old sales tactics, read some old sales books, and build trust and build community. I think that's more important than ever. And that's the biggest shift Viralish is making as well. When we started making videos and we didn't make money unless a video did 1 million views or more, we were just making the most attention-grabbing content we could. Our only job was to grab attention in any way that we could. It wasn't about building community. It wasn't about building trust. And we didn't want any of our creators to become influencers because I needed them to play an Amazon delivery driver in one video and be a pregnant person in the next, get evicted in the next video, and then go be a Karen in a Target in the next video we were shooting that day. So if you had a brand or a personality, you couldn't be a great actor. You couldn't make widely entertaining content in any niche we needed you to. But now we're seeing that shift into community being more important than ever for driving e-commerce and for building.
That's right.
Or reducing your liability to be able to take people off platform.
How I won't say dangerous, but like as far as like all the AI tools that are out there, like I think if you're first getting started, I think it's a great way to learn because it's just gonna, basically it's gonna scrape and do the best that it can, but it's surface level, right? That's the key for me is it's surface level. At the end of the day, that person or that bot don't know me. It doesn't know what my story is. It doesn't know what I'm comfortable with unless I tell it, right? But a lot of those tools that people are using don't do that. And it feels kind of like, I don't know, overused maybe, right? But I think it has a place. But like, so when you have something that's very inexpensive, but I feel like, I guess the quality's pretty good with it, unless you have a bunch of misspelled names and words. And
yeah, I think AI totally depends on the tool you're using, but more than that, how good are you at using it, right? Like if you can write code on a computer, the code, like the output, the website is only as good as the code based on the prompt, the input. Yeah. So if you're bad at inputting into ChatGPT, you're going to get a really crappy output. So the craft is really, are you good at writing code? Are you good at prompting to get the outcome that you want? And then are you still using your frontal lobe at the end of the day? Yeah. like AI is nice to replace like Zapier and stuff use it in tandem with that to reduce the really monotonous tasks. Yeah. Like if you need to write a 5-page creative brief, tell it to write you a 5-page creative brief with all these bullet points and it's going to spit it out and just save you a lot of typing. And then you can just refine. That's fine for stuff that doesn't require that much creativity. But at the end of the day, you're right. Nobody can replace you, your heart, your creativity. That a computer hasn't caught up to that yet. And I still think we have a pretty decent runway for creativity. And that's going to come in using AI correctly by being a good inputter. Yeah. Can you write good code to give the AI give AI the tools that it needs to give it the output that you want? So there's still creativity involved for the foreseeable future.
And definitely something that costs $12.99 a month is probably not going to change your life too many ways.
Right. There's certain people who should be worried. Lighting directors, or secretaries, or people who are just responsible for more administrative tasks. But I think creatives have a pretty good runway.
When it comes to somebody like you, it comes with a great responsibility from where I sit to make sure, like, when you get the time with that person and they've done something that's so pretty much rare, like there's just not a lot of people that have done what you've done in digital media. Okay. So there's so many, like, honestly, I thought long and hard about all the things that we could talk about today, but it's not about me. It's about the people that we're talking to. So I did want to do something that I never do. And some would call this an amateur move, but I'm cool with it. So, if I was to say, Adley, like, when you look back at this episode, he should have talked to me about this. He should have taught me about that. I wish I would have spoken about this. Is there anything that like just stands out to you? I'm probably crushing it like I always do, but if I'm not, I just wanted to open that up for a minute because I do want to talk to you about reruns. Obviously we talked a little bit about hiring vendors and whatnot, but everything that you guys are doing is analytical. It's framework. It's process driven. You have things that standards that work over and over and over again, and that is the magic sauce. It's the IP that you guys have developed. And at the end of the day, you're an IP company, in my opinion, because people are coming to you for knowledge that we just simply don't have, and more importantly, we don't have time to learn it. Right. It's not the business that we're in. So, is there anything, anything that like, I don't know, that I'm missing that we really need to get to the folks today? I think this is really important.
I think if people had one takeaway from this conversation, it would be to build a system around your content. And that's the thing that has been the linchpin to our success, is developing a system around something so creative and really studying the science of the art that we're in. Why does something go viral? And if you've had a video outperform the others, study it. Study why did that work, pull it apart, and do it again. We're talking about systems and repeatable, scalable content patterns here. So do it again, and keep yourself in the game. And you'll be amazed at what you can do if you just make a video every single day. Then make 2. And whatever milestone you hit, push your boundaries a little bit further. And just keep making content. You're going to suck at it at first. Everybody has 100 bad videos in them. I mean that so sincerely. And you should feel like a beginner again every 6 months. And keep yourself in a vulnerable state, because that means you are growing at a rapid rate. So if you're scared to start, I hear you. You're not the first, but we don't want you to stay there for too long. Just start trying and get somebody around you, get coaching, get people who are just even a couple steps ahead of you where you're at, and get 1% better every single day. And your life will be radically different in 1 year from now.
That's freaking awesome. That's awesome. So, all right, talk to me about, I want to talk about reruns. They're very popular on television or TV. I just dated myself on TV. There's Friends episodes rerunning right now, and that's something that, again, we have, I'm always pushing the team. It's like, don't forget about the hits that we had, because they're going to get played over and over and over again. And we can control if that, we can re-release them. We can remaster them just like you could do in the music business, and sell them 2, 3, or 4 or 5 times. What advice would you guys have? How often should they use reruns? What should they rerun?
There's a video of us breaking open an ATM that has made us over $250,000. And we've run it 6 times, 7 times, because it prints every single time. We'll re-edit it a little bit, run it again. One of the biggest mistakes people can make is not rerunning their content. Tweak it a little bit, but you already had a hit. So some people will have a hit and they're like, man, I got to work so hard to find my next hit. And I'm like, no, you don't. You just found what worked. Why would you move off it so quickly? Go do it again and again. Maybe refilm it again and again, or something slightly tangential to it. But you found that perfect blend of your authenticity and what the market wanted to hear from you and finds valuable. Do not just move on to the next thing. Keep rinsing that until you can't wring anything else out of it.
At the end of the day, that's the ultimate compliment, right? Is when you get that piece that does get it happen. It's a hit over and over and over and over again. And those are usually the things, I guess, that people get remembered for the most, right?
That is. There was a speech. Now there's a balance to this, okay? Let's be honest, because I did a speech during COVID that knows what we should all be doing right now. I think what it was called. That single video viewed over 1 billion times. That went mega viral.
That's with a B, 1 billion.
Yes. And it was stolen and ripped and put everywhere. We couldn't even contain that thing. It was on Good Morning America. It was everywhere. And it was the speech of me just calling out all the all the things in COVID that people are saying that we should do that immediately contradict what we should be doing. And it wasn't political. It was just what everybody was thinking. And then everyone after that was like, you got to do another one of those. You got to do another something like that. And I think if I had tried, it would have come across like I was just trying to redo that. And then things got very, like BLM, all of that was the rise after that. And then to make the same jokes, I would have had to almost pick a side. And it would have come across really try hard, I think, if I had tried. I started to write one, but if I had tried to respin that in that political landscape, it would have just not come across the right way. So maybe a missed opportunity, but you also have to use like your own discernment and be like, okay, depending on how big it was or how significant it was to your audience, you don't want to just like bandwagon yourself in a way. So use a little bit of discernment, but I would say in most cases, it's good to respin that content and play on what's working, because that's what the audience said that they wanted to hear from you.